Okay, let's quickly browse through the learning outcomes here. We will be able to explain the value stream mapping and when to use it for hoppering. Okay, Mr. Soma is from R&D and application. Okay, hoppering is nothing but filtering. Okay, hoppering is nothing but filtering. Filtering of what? Filtering of the opportunities for improvement. Filtering the opportunities for improvement. So we should be able to explain how VSM relates to other mapping tools, such as cross-functional mapping. If you want to know in depth about different types of map, now here we are going to talk about the value stream mapping and create a current state value stream mapping and identify the opportunities for improvement, which we call as the Kaizen burst, and explain the process to create the future map. And what we are going to cover probably is a few slides, how much ever we could cover. And remaining slides, you can go through it for continuity. So let's have some interesting discussions. What do you see in this picture? Please type in the comment box. I'll switch off my video for 30 seconds. Just to type in the comment box, whatever that you feel. Water flow, stream, flow of water, tables, nature. Look at the point of view. Water flow with constraints, right? Water flow with obstructions, uneven flow. Flow up to down. Okay, fantastic. I think that's a good level of participation. Whoever is here for the first time, type FT in the comment box. Right. Okay, let's see. What do you see in this picture? Just let's have some. See, value stream mapping is a very, sometimes it can be very heavy. So I wanted to make it a little bit of interesting, some sort of discussions about nature and things like that. Okay, so clear, unobstructed flow, laminar flow, well, okay, a reflection, right? Okay, beauty, right? Without hindrances, okay, clear flow, smooth flow, fantastic. Okay, fine. Okay, so if it is nature, probably we can admire whichever way it is, right? Suppose if it is nature, we can admire whatever. As nature, we can admire even this. As nature, some people can admire this. But if the flow is not smooth in operations, then it is a problem. We all can see if the flow is smooth, then the amount of water that starts from one point and it reaches the destination is much higher. The ratio is much higher than when there is a turbulent flow and when there is an obstacle. Okay, if this is clear, type super clear in the comment box. If you put a bucket of water or some amount of water from a point to it reaches a destination, in the case of river, it starts from a mountain and reaches the sea. But there is always a loss of water, and loss of water depends upon various factors. And what are the factors that loss of water depends on? Just let's see some comments in the chat box. In what all ways the water can get lost? The depth, okay, the evaporation, yeah. What else? Surfaces wetted, yeah. When the surfaces are wetted, the water will get lost, right? Drained, correct. Human drawings, irrigation, diversification, yeah. Right. Okay, so the logical next question is, when you have a set of raw material, okay, and you have to make finished goods. For example, you are making a masala dosa, and what are the ingredients for masala dosa? Right from the beginning, some rice, some dal, some water, right? And then you have oil that needs to be put, and then you have the vegetables, and there can be 4 or 5 vegetables. You can have chili powders, etc., etc. So when it has to be converted from raw materials to finished goods, in what all ways can it get wasted? Let's see some thoughts in the comment box. In what all ways can it get wasted? consumables, spillage, yeah, spillages, leakages, what sticks to the utensils, unconsumed, improper handling. What else? Not doing right the first time, excellent. Not doing right the first time, leading to rejection at various places. Right, what else? So one is the yield. We call as an yield. Yield means input to output. The output what comes to the input what we give, it will become less because of these, what we call as the hindrances to the flow. One is the hindrance to the flow. The other thing is it generates waste, and hence the output comes very less. Right, we will talk more about it. Now we are only talking about flow. In value stream mapping, we will talk about this flow. There are two things. One is there is a wastage that is happening. The other thing is there, though the wastage may not happen, but the time that it takes can be much more. That is called lead time. That is called as lead time. Okay, so for those who attended last couple of sessions, probably this is not intimidating. How many of you are scared of this map? How many of you feel this map is heavy? Now, if you see here, the two important things, what do you see on the screen? You saw something moving on the screen? Okay, so now you've seen some fishes moving. And do you see there are two different types of fishes? There are two different types of fishes. What are those two colors? Okay, there are all the fishes, blue color that is moving in one direction, and one yellow or red, whatever you're seeing, is moving in the other direction. It's moving in the other direction. So which means something that moves in the direction of the flow of material, something that is moving in the direction of flow of material. If you see here, process step 1, process step 2, process step 3, process step 4, process step 5. If you take the example of dosa making, process step 1 probably soaking the rice and dal in the water, process step 2 probably grinding, process step 3 probably making the dosa, process step 4 maybe adding some vegetables, and process step 5 dispatching it. So when it moves in from the raw material, it goes to the finished good, and when it moves in the direction of the flow, what is it called? This is called downstream. This is called downstream. When the water is coming from mountains and moving to the sea, when somebody is swimming in the direction of the water, it is called as the downstream. What is the opposite of downstream? Logical, right? Upstream. I actually wanted people who found it very heavy, I wanted them to answer, okay? Which is easier, going downstream or upstream? Which is easier, going up? I mean, if you're a swimmer, which is easier, going downstream or upstream? If you're a swimmer, downstream is easier, right? Along with the water currents is easy. So if you do not have any issues in making of the product, whereas when you go upstream, generally again, you know, it creates some sort of heavy current. This is just for your understanding. I'm telling you upstream and downstream, okay? Don't take it literally, please. When you go upstream, it means that there is a rejection or a rework that you have to go back to the earlier process and do. It develops, you can feel the current of it. You can feel the pressure of it, okay? Okay, if you found this analogy interesting, type interesting, valuable, whatever that you felt in the comment box. Let's go in again, revise what is value stream. Value stream is all activities that are currently required to transform the material and information into finished product, good or service, which means you have all the activities. Without activity, nothing can happen, right? A wish cannot bring down anything. bring up anything. So you need to have a set of activities. And all those activities that are currently required to transform the materials and information. You would always notice that a material cannot move without information. So this material and information is transformed into finished good, finished product or a service. It can be a product or service. And in the process, you have some waste. In the case of the water flow we have seen, there is a seepage under the soil. The water gets lost. The water can evaporate. It's a loss. Can you relate to any company, any industry where evaporation itself is a loss? Which industry? I'm sure you can all type that industry name. I'm not saying that straight away because I wanted you to have a discussion. Chemical industry, correct. I was working in adhesive manufacturing industry, and the base material, they were all monomers, vinyl acetate monomer, right? We call as VAM. And butyl acrylic acid, that's also a solvent. Methyl acrylic acid, that's also a solvent. And the very fact that even when it comes from supplier to here, when you unload, the weight will be a variation. And when you put and start steering inside the kettle, there'll be a lot of evaporation losses. So similarly, in your organization also, when you're transforming the initial into finished goods, there'll be a lot of, we call it as muda. And only when the finished good, which is ready and accepted for the customer, that is of value to him. Okay, I hope this explanation is clear, which means we put a lot of money in the beginning, and eventually, though we add the cost for adding value, though we tag a price for adding value, but ultimately, if the losses are much higher than the value, the price that we have put a value, will end up in loss. If this is clear, type super clear in the comment box. Raw material has a price. As it goes through this value stream, there will be losses, though we have put a price for each of these value adding activities and finally have a price for the customer. But if the losses are much higher than the price that we have put for adding this value, then we will end up in loss. So we spoke about the flow rule. What is the flow rule? In all business process, I repeat, in all business process, the benefits are directly proportional to the speed of the flow of material and information. Now, if you observe carefully, there are two things that I'm using. Of course, the flow principle that I'm talking about, but then the material and information. And the speed is nothing but time. The speed is nothing but the time that it takes. So I have used three things here. One is the material, one is the information, one is the time. I repeat, in this flow rule, we are saying in all business process, whether it is operational or transactional, the benefits are directly proportional to the speed of the flow of material and information. We all know material will not flow without information, and any flow, it takes a duration, that is the time. That's why you use the word speed here. So three things are used. One is the time, the material, and information. And these are the three things that we are going to put in the value stream map. The top portion in the value stream map is the information. The middle portion is the material flow. And the bottom portion is the timeline.